All right, thank you for staying with Daybreak. We're now talking about the Kiamba aftermath, and Wamatangi has just made his submissions earlier on, and I've seen some of the numbers you sent me, and according to you, the highlighted ones, the balance of probability doesn't look right.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen I forwarded to you, so you can say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's bring in Governor Mutua on this. Governor, you also talked about this issue of Kiamba, but this is now the point where you can make your submissions in regards to that. What did you see, and what do you make of the whole result from UDA and Jubilee?
First of all, I want to say that I agree with my fellow my running mate, Senator Wamatangi, that people live with the choices that they make. And that's very important to note, that when you go to an election and vote for somebody or vote for a certain policy, the result of that, you live with it for the next so long for the next election. So we have to be very careful about what we choose. But I'm a bit worried, first of all, Kiamba, UDA won. Whether it won in a crooked way, in other ways, they won. And we need to find out whether they won well or whether there was crookedness. And if there was crookedness, then you ask yourself, this is what they call the state machinery. They call it the deep state. So deep state was defeated by another arm. Does that mean that there are people who are really running the show, apart from the people who are really supposed to be running the show, etc., etc.? I'm quite worried when Senator Wamatangi talks about inaccuracies. The 151, 151, 237, 237, 237. That is very worrying, because we are going to a general election and we want a free and fair election, so that you know that if you lose, that you lost because your votes did not add up to the required figure, because people did not vote for you, not because somebody filled out a form or somebody stuffed ballots. We need to get out of that culture. Number two, I've always said that we need a form of transparency, and I advocate for the future. And it is possible. We can afford it. We have built SDRs, we have built highways, we have built expressways. We can afford, as a government, to have a CCTV camera running 24/7 with backup and everything from the beginning of an election in that stream all the way to the end, so that you show the empty boxes, everybody in the country can watch that CCTV. And as you watch that CCTV, people come in and vote, and you watch it without any editing as the votes are being counted one by one, and you can also tally yourself at home. You say Mutua, 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 another one, Mutua, 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 another one, Mutua, Mutua, another one, so that you can see who has won. So that even when they fill the form, even at home, you see who has won in that polling stream. Because we need people to have confidence. A lot of young people who have voted are saying, does it matter if I vote, because my vote will be stolen? So that is a big concern when it comes to what occurred in Kiambaa. So that is something that we need to look at it. We wait for the court case. If we see that evidence, then we may just have to revamp the whole of the IBC. But let's use technology. I push for CCTV cameras. I push for observers with their video cameras. Let's make sure that each polling station's results are real. Because you can imagine what will happen in the general election. People will stuff boxes according to where you come from, according to your strongholds, because everybody is from your region, then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Number three, now this issue that has been talked about of who is to blame, impediment, it is quite telling when you look at, listen to Senator Tarangai talking about an executive order giving away powers to other people. It is quite clear that the marriage between Uhuru and Ruto did not work, for whatever reason. And it is quite clear that during the tenure when Uhuru and Ruto were working closely, we accumulated a lot of debt. And as Senator Wanga has said, and this is accurate, one of the challenges that we faced in this country, and this is where Ruto himself will need to face the people of Kenya and tell us whether it's tribalistic or it's not tribalistic. Because in the appointments that were made, and we've looked at them, 50% of the appointments that were given to Ruto, he appointed people from his region. And if not from his region, from cronies who had questionable deals. And that's just a fact. You look at parastatal directors, parastatal CEOs, you look at ministers, you look at all those permanent secretaries were people basically of one tribe. Now, President Uhuru's 50%, now he had to appoint the Kiambas, the Kikuyus, the Merus, the Luos, the whole of the rest of Kenya. So what William Ruto was doing is what we saw during the Moi era, where concentration is based on who has won, which tribe eats the best, instead of all of us. So when we came together in 2018 and said, tuko pamoja, Kenyans for all of us, we felt that things would be better, but they did not get any better. When you look at the projects that Uhuru is doing, we have to ask ourselves, why is Uhuru Kenyatta using the military? Why does he feel that he needs to use the military instead of the normal civil service structure? And it's because he has decided that he needs to get his results as quickly as possible, because basically 7 years during his partnership with Ruto were wasted years. He did not deliver on his ambitions. And Uhuru Kenyatta is my friend. So we talk candidly. We've talked about what he wanted to achieve for this country. We've talked about the problems he's had with Ruto. We've talked about the problems he's had within his government. And it all comes down to delivery. Some people just want politics, while Uhuru Kenyatta wants delivery. So as Kenyans, we have to be very, very open. We have to be wide open.
Yeah.
We have to keep our eyes wide open to look at the reality.
Okay.
Now, as I conclude, there is this issue of where is this country going? You know, because even if we talk about Kiambaa and other places and all this politics, we have to come back to where is our country going? We have still 1 year to rescue our country and give hope to our people. So we have to find a way of toning down the politics and getting more into development. Yes, people are running for office, but Raila Odinga, Ruto, they have been running for office for the last 10, 20 years. They have been campaigning all the time. Maybe they need just to shut up this time. Shut up, stay at home. Wacha kazi ifanywe, let's wait for the last 3 months, let's run for elections. Solidify your base, it's okay. I'm doing the same with Maendeleo Chap. But let's avoid these insults, kutukanana, kuvutana chini. We are tired as Kenyans. Young people, I've been meeting artists, young artists who are living in lives where they are close to starvation. Young educated men and women have no jobs. We are tired of this form of political games. They are an insult to all of us who are suffering in this country.
Yeah. Cherargei, what do you think happened in Kiamba?
First of all, I want to assist Governor Mutua to look at the NCIC report, National Cohesion and Equal Opportunities. It shows you the composition of appointments in government, and it will tell you who are the majority. So I would request him to consult that report. It is available online. I will also send him link later. Number two is that it is unfortunate that the Constitution, the appointing authority in government is President Uhuru Kenyatta. I am not aware if Ruto was a co-president. He wasn't. So let's wait when he becomes the president after 2022, and then we can ask how he has made appointments across the country. And it has been guided under Article 10 of the Constitution of Kenya on national values and principles of good governance, where you must consider many factors before appointing anybody to office. And it is captured under Article 10 of the Constitution of Kenya. Number two, I want to, Trevor, to thank the people of Kiambaa and thank God. That was a very great honor and humility to UDA. The party that was just born less than 6 months ago is giving a lot of people sleepless nights. I want to thank the people of Kiambaa for that honor. And it is an indication that the people of Kiambaa have shown us the direction, and they want to be in the future. The past was Jubilee. Jubilee is an empty shell as we talk today, and we have left the empty shell to go to coalition with ODM. And I think ODM have begun jittery. If you see, even KANU, a small party of former years, which belong to the same dustbin as Jubilee, are now working out of coalition with Jubilee. So you can see that Jubilee as a party has been battered for very long. And I'm happy, Trevor, as you are aware, last Thursday I had said in the show that we were confident because personally I was on the ground. And I want to congratulate people of Kiamba because the campaigns were peaceful. They tolerated. Even when the Kiamba people, the state functionaries and state operatives and other government camps were being used to try and cite them, sending chiefs with a uniform to go to polling stations, trying to use an orthodox means to try and turn the elections the other way. Although I didn't see my majority whip on the ground, but maybe he was behind the scenes because I would have expected to meet him on the ground, but I was told he was behind the scenes. So where I'm sitting, the future is UDA, the past is Jubilee, And I want to say it was an honor, and we thank God for that win. And I've seen some people saying it is 50-50, saying that the Central will go this way or that way. I want to say the people of Mount Kenya region are people who are peaceful, they are people who are democratic, and they have a right to vote for any candidate. I saw Governor Halias and Joho, of course, with these limited capacities, and all of us understand it, is that he was trying to try people to tribal conflicts. How can you want to become the president, yet you are telling people you should be voting for your man, don't vote to anybody else? And the challenge with such leaders is that it's myopic, and I'm happy that Governor Mutua on this show, at least him is a presidential candidate. He has been declared by his party. I'm happy he has been trying to talk about national ideals. And I think some of the people likes of Joe and the rest should be picking the cue and understand it is not about an individual. It is about one Kenya.
Yeah.
It is about us. And therefore, Kiambaa people and the Mount Kenya people have shown that they can support any other candidate apart from their own, because they believe in one Kenya. They believe in one nation.
Okay.
Why would we want to force them to retreat? And
Okay.
I think going into the future, I can assure you UDA will continue giving sleepless nights to all the other parties, and we are confident of a very better future and for this country and for the politics of this country, where we are based on ideology of ensuring that we bring an economy. And I want to demystify this, and I think I answered last time, Trevor, as I conclude, that when we talk about bottom-up approach economy, it is not about handouts. It is about making sure that we have a revolving fund, where that revolving fund can be used by the startup SMEs. And you know, as a Senate, there is what we call startup bill that we are trying to put in place, where youth groups, any organizations, the CBOs can go to a government agency, even at interest-free loan, and borrow and be able to start business. That is what we mean by bottom-up approach. And wheelbarrow is just as simple. But when you get people with limited capacity, of course, they will mean answer. But I'm ready to give them free lessons, especially the governor of Mombasa, who was talking about wheelbarrow. He doesn't understand the philosophy by it. I'm willing to tutor him and give him free lessons on what it means.
Okay. Honorable Wanga, what did you make of the Kiamba by-election?
Yeah, I'll speak about Kiamba, but I really take exception with Senator Cherargei trying to undermine everybody here, talking about limited capacities and so on. And these are people who have succeeded, you know, and to talk about limited capacities. You know, when you talk about Governor of Mombasa, this is a governor doing his second term and who's done extremely well for the people of Mombasa. And so when he talks about, making sure that people are empowered, he knows what he's talking about. So this idea of coming to undermine other leaders is really a character of the Tanga group that they must shed off. And it is in the same vein that, they think Kenyans don't know that when URP and TNA went into partnership, there was a 50-50 sharing of government. And William Ruto had appointees, and every Kenyan knows, and the president had appointees. And I think, as Governor Mutua put it, and as I put it earlier, if you look at the appointees of William Ruto, it was mainly from one community. And the appointees of Uhuru Kenyatta then had to carry the rest of the country. And that is the spirit that he carried into, the BBI, where we're bringing the entire country together. And that is something William Ruto will have to explain. Actually, in that tenure, Trevor, there were people, if you held a position, it was considered a vacancy. There were communities, if you held a position, it was considered a vacancy, awaiting people from another. So really, I mean, that William Ruto will have to explain to Kenyans how he talks about nationalism, when we know that just a certain region are the people he considered for appointments. And this is also the issue with, and Cherargei is mentioning, the issue of the bottom-up. The way they have conceptualized it, it's a handout. It's essentially Kenyans waiting for handouts from the exchequer. Kenyans waiting for 30 billion to be allocated from the exchequer to be able to just give handouts to everybody and then to say, this is bottom up. And this is what we are countering. And if you had what Raila said, revitalizing rural economies. making sure, and yesterday he gave the example of Kwale, making sure that the coconut, you know, of the people of Kwale can actually be made into some, you know, coconut oil, coconut milk that is sold across the country and the region with just a little investment. And that is giving people, teaching people how to fish and not giving them fish. Bottom up, give people fish, hand out things, let them clap for you, ululate for you. When you go, it is not sustainable. The real sustainability is teaching people how to fish. But coming back to Kiambaa, I think Jubilee did well. Because whenever I was, and even when Cherargei was here, he said it was game short, he said it was, you know, it was, and whenever I was meeting with members of, you know, Tanga, even in Parliament, they kept saying that is 9-1. You know, that is that's a landslide. But when reality came in, then we saw that it was a 50-50, and that's good effort, and therefore we have to just continue pressing in that direction. But coming back to what is more concerning and what Senator Wamatangi has spoken about, the integrity of our elections. And this is something that's very close to our heart, because this is something that we have experienced firsthand. The fact that somebody can sit somewhere and change, you know, change election results. And the fact that, you know, certain algorithms are put, and then you find something like 151, 151, 151. We must, Trevor, look at the issue of the IEBC. I'm personally very skeptical about Achebukati-led IEBC taking us into 2022. Very skeptical. Extremely skeptical because of what we saw in 2017 that even led to nullification of the election results. And now, looking at what Senator Wamatangi is saying about Kiambaa, it means very little has changed. So I'm very, very skeptical, and I think that we need to have a candid debate. Even as we hire the new commissioners, we need to have a candid debate around the IBC with which we are going to go.
So do you think this is about the individuals or the structure itself?
I think it's about both. It's about leadership, a leadership that is committed to providing an election that is free and fair, but also, you know, infrastructure that enables that free and fair election. So I think let Kiambaa, you know, Kariri Njama did very well. I congratulate him. Let him not despair. And let me tell Jubilee members, you know, you're being called a shell. Let me tell you, even if your house is leaking, don't run to your neighbor's house. Just repair your house. And I'm happy that Jubilee members, you know, have met. They are diagnosing, you know, where is the problem, what can we do, what can we do to strengthen the party. Let them proceed. Don't run to your neighbor's house to go and seek shelter there. Repair your house, make sure it is strong, make sure it is standing. And I heard Cherargei saying that Kanu is walking out of Jubilee. That is not true. Yesterday, Kanu came out to issue a statement saying that they are in Jubilee. And they are in the coalition with Jubilee. And ODM as well, as you saw yesterday, our party leader was accompanied by Jubilee MPs. We are strengthening our own party, but we are open and working on whatever coalitions we can build to move into the future, you know, for a united Kenya.
Wamatangi, there's a pushback here a little bit from Koa Frederick. Says Jubilee as a party has to stop this narrative of it was a closely contested poll when they lose. UD has won 5 electoral seats over Jubilee's 2 so far in Kenya. Kiamba is the first by-election where government of the day is complaining of malpractices. And Flavian Mulama says Senator Wamatangi should also confirm whether their agents signed the results declaration forms that had same numbers of votes in the 3 streams that he's talking about. There's nothing wrong, in my view, to have such numbers. Coincidences do happen.
Well, you know, Trevor, I was very clear about what I said. First, I wanted to be understood very well. As I said, that the people of Kiambaa are the people who vote for me. And when they've cast their ballot and made a decision, I have absolutely no reason to challenge their decision. But it is in the interest of this country And I would be heavily advocating, if you ask me, Trevor, onwards to the next general election, that the most hygienic and confidence instilling ways that would proceed is to ask Chebukati, as the current chair of IEBC and his 3 commissioners, for Kenyans to have a completely, fair. And I'm not saying fair because, there's nothing that has been found wrong with them right now legally.
Yeah.
But even by perception, I think the best way would be for those 3 gentlemen to exit IEBC before the general elections of 2022. Such that we can go to the general elections with a completely clean, clear IEBC, whereby people will have confidence ab initio before you conduct the elections. Because, there has been all these complaints here and there, and I forwarded to you, Trevor, those numbers, and you've seen them.
Yeah.
And what I just simply said is they're very worrisome. You've seen them yourselves. They're very concerning. If you are given those results yourself after an election, you would want to ask questions around it. But otherwise, all said and done, Trevor, I would want to summarize it this way. One, elections sometimes are decided on very temporary reasons. There could be a hike in the stock exchange tomorrow, and the day after you lose an election. There could be an earthquake today and you lose an election. You can also lose an election because of a continued failure. I mean, there are millions of reasons why you lose an election. And I believe that also, at the end of the day, it is a good time for Jubilee to take stock and learn and see and introspect and see what do they need to do, so that either if the party decides that we want to contest more elections and will be in the ballot papers in 2022, what do we need to do internally to clean up? I think also we can't run away from that reality, that it is time to have a look at that. And finally, let me say, because a lot of talk has been in there. It's in the president's backyard, and does it mean that the president has lost his grip? Is it he's unpopular? Trevor, in the course of leadership, once you assume the top position, like the president did in 2013, and you can learn this from so many other leaders around the world. Look at Barack Obama. By the time he came to leave office, look at Bill Clinton, although he was a little different. As long as you've taken the mantle and led the people for a year, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you go into another second term, you expect that more often than not, because of so many reasons, some directly attributed to you, others incidental, coincidental omissions and commissions, you will have to go through that cycle. And it is not unheard of that you find that at a time when you're just about to close your leadership or your tenure, you'll find that there could be a dip, and sometimes an up or a dip in your ratings. That is not new. It is not news either. What is important is within that period, when you know that you have to leave office within a certain time, do you keep focus? Do you ensure that, because judgment does not come pre, it comes post, it comes after. And what you need to ask yourself as a leader, and I'm saying this for the sake of leaders like myself and others who will be upcoming, because not only at the presidential level, even for governors, for senators, for members of parliament, you must remember that your focus has got to be on delivery, on the promises, on what you want to be remembered and known about, on what legacy you want your administration to have. And so I don't think that it would be so strange that you find that the president at this particular time, because he's carried this whole bogey with him all the way from 2013. And there are so many things that happen, even some outside his knowledge, but at the end of the day, the buck stops with him. And so I think, to sum it up, we will just agree for the party Jubilee, let's look at ourselves internally, ask where have we gone wrong, what do we need to do better, And for the country, let's tell IEBC, clean up your house.
Yeah.
And I believe that we need to finish this process of recruiting commissioners, and then from there,
yeah,
once they're in office and they know how to, they know the ropes,
yeah,
then Akina Chebukati and the rest of the people can also gracefully and gracefully exit. Let's have new leadership in IEBC, go to elections, and then we can have people who will take this country to the next level.
Okay.
Yeah.
Governor Mutua, I want you to start us off on the last